Well, good morning, everyone. We hope you're all having a good Friday and are ready for the weekend to start. Project HEAL is very excited to present our partners, our university partners. We have Texas A&M University and the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley joining us today. My name is Claudia Gutierrez, and I'm with Project HEAL at Region 1 ESC. And I see we have Ms. Molina's class and Mr. Cantu's class with us today. Want to let you know that we're recording this, so it can be watched at a later time. If you'll notice, we don't have Med-High students with us today because they're having an event at their school today, but they're going to watch it on the recording later. So I want to turn this over to Eva Magayan. She's with Texas A&M University, and the floor is yours, Eva.
Okay, so howdy. My name is Eva Magayan, and I'm the academic advisor for the College of Nursing here at Texas A&M. Before I start, I did want to add that if at any point, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to ask questions. And then as well, those that do ask questions, I do have some neat Aggie swag that I have. So I have like little foam fingers, and then I also have like little pennants. So I do encourage questions. So let me go ahead and just start. Let me just share the screen. Okay. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Is that a good? Okay, so let's start. So Texas A&M University College of Nursing, we are in existence since 2008. So we do have 10 years, and within that 10 years of span, we've ranked #1 nursing program by thebestschools.org. We've also ranked #1 Texas nursing program by registerednursing.org, and also ranked #2 Texas nursing program by niche.com. So this is 2018 would be the 10th year anniversary that we have as far as like the College of Nursing being in existence. So we are excited about that. And then we also have the distinction for the Center of Excellence in Nursing Education by the National League for Nursing. So let's start. So as far as like the main campus, so we have Bryan College Station would be our main campus, but we're located as far as here, like the McAllen campus, we're located on South McCaw. So we're right next to like the STC Nursing Allied building on South McCaw. And then as far as like the nursing advisor, I would be with you throughout your whole nursing journey. So that's one of the neat opportunities that I have, that once you start with this, that you start applying through the admissions process, I'll be helping you like with the application, with the essay, if you have questions with that, or any questions that you may have about the prerequisite courses. And then once you're in the nursing program, I would also be your advisor, assisting you with, with the whole academic advising throughout your whole nursing journey. So that is one of the neat opportunities that I have. And do note that I have interesting facts here on the College of Nursing and Texas A&M. So like, for example, whenever you see howdy, that's the official university greeting that we have. So whenever you hear howdy, it's where you also say howdy back. So just keep that in mind. And Texas A&M is known as one of the most friendliest campuses. So if you ever visit any of our campuses, if you go there, it will be rare if you actually don't have somebody tell you like howdy. So that is one of the things that you'll hear often at Texas A&M. Okay, so we have the next slide. So why Texas A&M Nursing? So aside from being ranked #1 Texas Nursing Program, we also have on our NCLEX RN pass rate. That means that once you complete nursing school, you then take the state examination, the NCLEX. once you take it, we do prepare students to be successful from day one that you start with this. And as far as right now, we have a 99% passing rate, which is really high, not only in the state level, but also like national. So just keep that in mind, that as far as like the passing rate, you always want to choose like a school that does have like a high passing rate, so that the first time that you attempt your NCLEX, you do pass it within your first attempt. Okay, so pathways to nursing. So one of the questions I often get by students is, how can I become a registered nurse? So there's two pathways. So you can either go through the associate's degree nursing pathway, or you can go straight pathway towards a bachelor's of science in nursing. So whichever one you end up choosing, you can still transfer with this. If you end up doing the associate's degree at STC first, you can then transfer into our RN to BSN program. Or if you wish to just complete prerequisite courses and go straight pathway towards the bachelor's, then that would be the BSN program. Okay, so how to become an Aggie nurse. So we have the traditional BSN program. Students can either go to the Bryan College Station program, campus, or the Round Rock, or McAllen. We are hoping to start, the expected start date is fall 2019, meaning next fall. And then students that are interested in the RN to BSN program, that's also an option. But the traditional BSN, if you're hoping to start either at Bryan or Round Rock and not here in McAllen, just keep in mind that for those students, just reach out to me, only because for today's focus, I will be focusing towards the traditional BSN in McAllen. So some of the application deadlines or even some of the application requirements might be a little bit different. So just keep that in mind, that if you're seeking to go to College Station in Bryan or Round Rock, that it would be a little bit different. And then also for those that already have set their goal of completing the associate's degree in nursing first and then transferring, then again, that would also be slightly different. So again, today's focus would be towards the traditional BSN in McAllen. So we have—
Let me interrupt a moment. Sorry, Eva. Stephanie Molina's class would like to know what are the prerequisite tests needed and what is the passing score for those tests?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I will be covering that right now, like in the next, I believe, 2 slides. But we have, for the College of Nursing, we have the admission exam being the HESI. For that one, the minimum score would be a 75% for all the components. And then the Office of Admissions has that for students that are coming straight from high school, they have to apply as freshman applicants. So in that case, they would be required to submit official ACT and ACT scores through the Office of Admissions.
I want to thank Delania Torres at AHSP in La Jolla for asking that question. Okay.
And I'll be giving you a little prize. So let's see. Okay.
Woohoo!
So keep those in mind. Whoever's asking questions, just please write them down. And I'll be personally going to your school. Okay, so for the traditional BSN program in McAllen, again, the expected start date would be fall 2019. That's when we're hoping to start. So that means that students that are right now in high school can complete the prerequisite courses in high school. Whatever you still have left over that you've not completed during high school, you can take it during summer. As long as you have all the prerequisite courses completed by August 2019, by the first day of class, then you can start with us for the traditional BSN. And I'll be covering right now the prerequisite courses as well, so that you can see that. Since we're expected to start until fall 2019, right now we do have the Texas Board of Nursing approval pending, so as of October. So once that's already been completed, once we get the final approval, that means that around November, December, just keep those dates in mind, that we will be having like an information session to provide you with like the updates regarding our traditional BSN program. So as of right now, the information I'm gonna cover, just keep in mind that it's not set in stone. Some information might change, only because depending, once we start evaluating everything as far as the application requirements specific for McAllen, later around October. So by November, December, we'll have that information session. By then, we'll have the more concrete information. Okay, so whenever we hear traditional BSN, one of the questions I get is, what exactly does that mean, the traditional BSN? So that means this is kind of known as the 2+2, meaning 2 years of the prerequisite coursework, which you can complete in high school. If you've completed due enrollment or if you've completed AP, that would also count, depending if the courses were in. And then the 2 years plus 2 would, that once you enter with us for our nursing program, you would be completing 2 years of nursing coursework, which would eventually lead to your 4-year BSN degree. So just keep that in mind whenever you hear that. And I will be sending out this presentation. So even if, you know, if right now, if it's a lot of information, just keep in mind I'll be sending it. That way you can later review it. Okay, so traditional BSN McAllen. So for McAllen only, we will be having the application. Right now, this is the estimate starting date. We're gonna be opening up the application January 1st. So that means that in your last year of high school, if you're considering entering the nursing program with us, that means that in spring term, you're gonna be doing the application. We're gonna close the application by March 1st. March 1st would not only be the deadline for the application, but also for the HESI, which is the nursing admission exam that we have. So just keep those dates in mind so that when you're applying, that it's not only the application, but also the HESI, which right now we have said that the estimate number of students that we're hoping to have would be around 20, either 20 to 24, but right now just the minimum would be around 20 students. And then as far as prerequisite courses that must be completed, those courses, as long as it's a C or higher, then we can count it. And again, March 1st being the deadline for that admission application and the HESI. Okay, so admission requirements. So prerequisite courses, of course, this would be the courses you have to complete before you start with this. And for those of you have questions or if you don't know whether certain courses count, again, let me know. I can review your transcript and then check to see what we can count. Even if you're in doubt or don't know, just email me, call me, or set up an appointment. That way I can review your transcript. The admission exams that we have would be, again, the HESI through the College of Nursing. The HESI must be completed by March 1st. And then through the Office of Admissions, it would be the ACT or the ACT scores that you have to submit. We do have 2 applications, which would be the Nursing CAS and then the Applied Texas. The Nursing CAS would be the one that most nursing schools utilize. And then the Applied Texas would be for Texas public institutions that have to submit that application. So just keep those in mind that it's 2 applications that you have to submit. And then as far as transcripts, it would be your high school transcript and your college transcript. So even though right now you're in high school, if you receive due enrollment, that means that you should have your transcript from either STC, or if you're receiving due enrollment at UTRGV, wherever it is that you're receiving due enrollment, request your transcript to be then sent to Texas A&M so that then we can receive it.
Eva, I want to interrupt you a moment on this screen. Students, remember, if you need to have your transcripts reviewed, take advantage of this. Even if you can't make changes this semester, you can still work in the spring and the summer. Notice that it says the prerequisites need to be completed before the first day of class. So there's still lots of time to prepare for this program.
Yes, and I've had several students already email me their transcripts. So again, if you have questions or if you're not able to meet because you're in class, you can email me your transcript and I can work with you like that and then give you a phone call regarding like any feedback that I have regarding your transcript. So if that works best, you can also do that. And the last requirement being your personal statement, which is the essay. This I normally have like an admission application workshop so that then I can assist students with writing their essay. So if you do struggle with writing your essay or you have any questions or you complete the essay and would like for me to review it, you can always just send it to me as well or attend one of our workshops. That way I can assist you with that.
Eva, we have another question from AHSP in La Jolla. Cela Garcia wants to know, what are the passing scores for the ACT and SAT? And also, do you need to have a certain class rank?
For the ACT and the ACT, that since we have it, so normally what we have is that in the past, this is going to be something new that the College of Nursing has. So I'm not familiarized with the ACT and ACT since that's through the Office of Admissions, but I can find out. The only reason is because for McAllen students only, we're allowing students to come straight from high school. For students that in the past, the way we've done it is that students first had to attend a full semester such as fall or spring before they can even enter the College of Nursing. So since this is something that's new, it is something that we're still gonna be looking into. So once I have the response for that, I'll look into that. That way you can, you know, have like the latest information regarding like anything with the Office of Admissions.
Thank you.
But that is a great question. Thank you. I'll keep it in mind. Okay, let me just write the question. ACT. Okay.
I'll send you all the questions at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so prerequisite coursework. As far as the prerequisite coursework, we do have like the basic courses being like English 1, English 2, History 1 and 2, Government 1 and 2, Psychology, the philosophy, either ethics that we have or philosophy, and then we have music or creative arts. The creative arts is a little bit flexible. So let's say, for example, if you ended up not taking creative arts or music appreciation, if you took something else, I can look into it to see if it met the core curriculum at STC or wherever you took it, then that way to see if we can count it. Then we have 1406, 1408. That's actually supposed to be either or. It's not two separate biology courses. And then we have either college algebra or statistics that you can take. So here on a different category, I have nursing science courses. That would be the second category that we look at as far as your prerequisite GPA. So we have lifespan, nutrition, chemistry, anatomy 1 and 2, microbiology, and then the math. So that would be something that once you give me like your transcript and I'm reviewing it, that I would calculate your prerequisite GPA, your nursing science GPA. That way you can see where you stand as far as your GPA and how competitive you are as an applicant.
We have another question from Victoria Cobos and La Jolla, and she wants to know, do all AP classes transfer?
The AP courses, if you're taking them at STC 2401, 2402, yes, we would be able to count it. Just make sure that it's a C or higher in order for us to be able to consider it. Let's say, for example, if the first time you took anatomy, if you received a D, and then the second time that you took it, you received, let's say, an A. In that case, we would get the average of both grades. So if you retake a course, we will not go based on the highest. We will take the average. So just keep that in mind. That and another neat thing is that some students have asked me, like, how do I go about calculating my GPA? You don't have to do like all the mathematical equations of figuring out your GPA. You can actually just go online. And when you go online, you can put like college GPA calculator, and all the courses that you've taken, you can start calculating. And even if you're thinking, okay, what if I take this course in the spring and I end up getting an A or a B? How would this impact my GPA? You can go to the website and then start calculating where your GPA will stand and how it would get affected. So that's another neat thing that you can do. And again, it's free. You just go online, college GPA calculator, and it should show up there where you can, you know, just play around with it to see your GPA.
That's a good tip. Thank you.
Okay. And then, oh, and another thing, going back with this foreign language, students are required to have 2 years of the same language in high school. If you don't complete 2 years of the same language in high school, such as like Spanish, German, French, or any language that you choose, then you will be required to either complete it through 2 semesters of the same language in college, or you can also take like a credit by examination to get credit for a foreign language. And if you have questions with that, you can always just show me your high school transcript and I can review it as well. Okay, so what about AP, dual credit, etc.? So AP credit, again, it is acceptable. However, for each institution that you're sending AP credit, it depends on what you scored. So Texas A&M, we do have a list of the AP credit that we accept, and then we also have the minimum scores of what you must have attempted for that AP in order for us to count it. So just, keep in mind that if it counts for one school, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to count for the other schools, because each school has a different score that you must obtain in order for the AP credit to count. And then for dual credit, again, we do count it as long as it's on your college transcript and it's the courses we're needing, then we would be able to count it. And if you're in doubt, again, just, let me review your transcript, and then that way I can help you determine if we're able to count it. Alrighty, so the HESI. So I do anticipate a lot of questions on this, or if you don't have questions now, you can always just ask me later. But for the HESI, in the past, like how we've always had it in place has been that for the HESI, we've only always allowed it once during the application cycle. We are hoping to do it a little bit different for Project HEAL students. So that is something that we're going to be working towards this fall term, because we are aware that students do take it more than once during the high school term. So do keep in mind that even though we have it here that it's only once during the application cycle, we are going to be reevaluating our application requirements for Project HEAL students only to see how we can make it different depending on the HESI. Okay, so once you take the HESI, if you add our school code, we do have a specific HESI school code that you have to add. That means that if you add it within 24 hours, we receive your scores automatically. And then as far as the components that you have to take, we do require math, reading comprehension, grammar, vocabulary, and general knowledge, and then also anatomy and physiology. So it is very important that you see which components each school that you're applying for requires, because it does differ through each school. And then the one that we would request would be the HESI with critical thinking. So just make sure that it does include critical thinking when you take the HESI. And then again, 75% would be the minimum that we would require for students for each component. But we are aware that as far as let's say, for example, if a student took HESI and they didn't do so well, perhaps in their anatomy section, anatomy and physiology section, then in that case, we could make an exception on the HESI if they have not taken the anatomy, either part 1 or part 2. So if you end up not passing the anatomy, still contact me, and then that way I can check to see if that exception falls for you. But again, for Project HEAL students, we are going to try to do it a little bit different with the HESI. So again, this information is not set in stone. So once we have those updates, I'll be providing it at the information session around November, December.
Eva, Mr. Cantu's class would like you to repeat the prerequisites for the nursing program. And their question is, are these prerequisites required before admittance, or can you take what's missing during the program?
Okay, so these prerequisite courses are required before starting the nursing program with us. So when the student starts the nursing program with us, they're strictly only going to be doing nursing coursework. So they're basically going to be starting already as a junior and then completing their second year with us, which would be as a senior, to then graduate with their bachelor. So all of this has to be completed before. None of this can be taken during the program. It has to be completed before. So like the students that I've met, some of them already have completed several of these courses, or will have them completed by the time that they graduate high school. But any courses that they have missing, you can still take it during the summer, either summer 1, summer 2, or summer 3. That way you can complete it during that summer term before you start with this. So again, it is required before. This list, I will be providing a more specific list. Like this actually does follow the course number that you would have to take, but I can also provide you with like the list of like the courses that that you have to take. That way you can start like checking off the courses that you've taken. But if you send me your transcript, I can send you the list of what you've already taken. That way you can measure what you're still needing. So I've done that already with the students, but these courses like the English 1301, 1302, History 1301, 1302, and then Government 2305, 2306. So all of these courses, again, they're required before you start with this. The math, that could vary depending on what you've taken. So keep in mind that right now I just here put very specific courses for the math, But if students are majoring in math or doing like engineering where it has a lot on math, then in that case, you might have more math courses. So if you have not taken one of these, I can see what math courses you've taken to see if we could count it. But it all depends on what you've taken. So always just send me your transcript when in doubt. That way I can review it. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Okay, so how do I send my HESI scores? So there's two different ways of sending the HESI scores. So if you add the school code, that means that automatically we receive your HESI scores within 24 hours. But if you don't add our school code, then in that case, you have to contact the testing company, which is Elsevier, and then ask them to send us your scores, like your score report electronically, and then that can usually take 2 to 3 weeks depending on the order that they have, because they go based on the order of requests that they received previously. So if you're going to be doing that where you send your school code first, like your HESI score report to a different school code, keep in mind that at least allow yourself 2 to 3 weeks. That way you can then send our, the score report to us, to Texas A&M. And this, again, if it gets confusing, because there will be a lot of information that we're covering today, you don't have to memorize it, but again, you can reach out to me, and then that way I can go back and then review the information with you. Okay, so being a competitive applicant. So we have 4 students here in McAllen for right now. The neat thing is that whenever a nursing program starts, like in this case in McAllen, we have right now the recommended GPA would be a 3.0, but because the program is just starting here in McAllen, we don't have necessarily like an expected GPA of what we're hoping for students to have. It just right now is a recommended 3.0, but it all depends on who applies. So if, like, let's say, for example, if all the applicants that apply have like an average GPA of like a 3.0 to a 3.4, then that's going to be based on what we're going to work with. So for right now, again, the recommended is a 3.0, but if your GPA is slightly lower or higher, still I encourage you to still apply, because it's not a set GPA that we have for McAllen yet, because it would be the first time that we're starting. And that also applies for the nursing science GPA, where we have it as a recommended 3.0 GPA. And then the HESI exam, a 75% that we have it set. And again, the HESI information, we're going to work with Project HEAL students to try to make it a little bit different, but that's only specific for Project HEAL students going for the traditional BSN in McAllen. And then as far as experience, if like all of this would be optional, so if the student has healthcare experience or extracurricular activities that they're involved in, or leadership or community service, you do have an option on your nursing CAS application, the admission basically application, to add that information. So make sure that if you have participated in any of those events, to add it, because we do take that into consideration. And then the other item would be your personal statement. So the personal statement being the admission essay that we have there, you would answer the prompt, and then as well, you would include any other information that you would like the admissions committee to know about you. You would also include it on the personal statement. Okay. So nursing BSN curriculum. So as far as, so keep in mind that you would be completing prerequisite courses before you come into our nursing program. So when you start with us, it would only be 2 years of nursing coursework that you will be taking with us. Those 2 years, again, you would be coming in as a junior, and then on your second year, you would already be a senior. For right now, we only have a full-time option. So that means that students that come in with us, this would be as a full-time option. I have been asked if we have like a part-time option, but as of right now, it's only been mentioned that it's a full-time option. And that's also what we have in the Round Rock campus, and then also in Bryan College Station. So it's always been as a full-time student. And then as far as clinical experiences, just keep in mind that students will be completing clinicals here in the Rio Grande Valley. So students do not at all have to go travel to College Station or Round Rock. Everything will be here in the Valley. The clinicals are usually Mondays through Fridays. Sometimes, depending on the availability of hospitals, it could be on Saturdays where we have clinicals. It has happened in the past for our programs over there at Bryan or Round Rock, where students have had to complete clinicals during the Saturday. So just keep that in mind, that it's normally Monday through Friday, but it could also be, you know, clinical rotations could also be on a Saturday. And again, it's only a full-time option.
Eva, Marisol Munoz wants to know, can they do community service at the hospital?
Community service, yes. So we've had students either shadow a nurse, or we've had students just volunteer at a hospital. So that would count towards healthcare experience. Yes, and so anything that you've done, we've even had students like participate at a blood drive or coordinate a blood drive. So any of that, that would also be something that you can consider and input on your application. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Okay, so tuition and fees, we have here that for the 2 years that students complete with us, this would be $20,700, and that would be starting in fall. That would be for the 2 years that students are with us throughout the whole program. So we're looking at $10,350 being for each year. And for the 2 years, that would be for Texas residents. So just keep that in mind. And whenever you're looking at your financial aid award, it's always good also to look at not only how much financial aid you're receiving, but also how much your tuition would be, like the whole total cost. Okay, and then other costs that we have would be like your textbooks, your supplies, your immunizations. So one common question that I get is, do I have to submit immunizations right now that I'm applying? So normally for immunizations, the CPR certification, criminal background check, health insurance, drug screening, all of that, we don't request it while you're applying to the program. That is only after you've been admitted to the program that we would be requesting that information. So just keep that in mind, that it's not during, you know, like the application process. It's after you've been admitted that we'll send you a guide of all the items that we're going to be needing from you. Alrighty, so any questions that anyone may have? Any additional questions?
I don't think so. They've transitioned to another class, so you'll see that they're switching around. And I'm pretty sure, let me ask Mr. Cantu and Ms. Molina if there's anything else.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other questions? Well, the class is gone, but.
Not to be here.
Okay, that's great. We'll be ready for the next class then. Thank you. Mr. Cantu. No, I don't believe there's any other questions. Eva, thank you very much. If you can unshare your screen. Thank you very much for letting us know all about Texas A&M.
I did have a question.
Were there any questions, Mr. Cantu?
I was just hoping that if we can get some contact info for A&M, because I know I have 2 students who are really interested in the program. I'm actually from A&M myself, so it's pretty exciting to see the program expand. So I was hoping we can get some contact info from you, Ms. Magayan, like that way kids can start emailing you with certain questions, because we are on a modified schedule today.
No house divided here, guys. No house divided here. We're all partners.
Which campus are you at, if I may ask?
He's in La Jolla. I'll make sure that you both get the contact information.
Okay, yes,
okay?
yes, definitely. I'll give you one of these so you can have, yay, Aggie!
Yeah, please. I'm missing, I have a flag, and I have you can't see it, but on the front of the classroom, I have, there's a spirit can never be told, like outlined in white letters. So yeah, I have flags all over the place, but I would love the nursing one too.
Yay! I have other stuff. I'll give you some. Yay!
Yes,
That's
okay.
awesome.
Thank
I
you
need to
very
add
much.
to my room.
Okay, now we're going to turn the pages and go to our next guest, which is Nancy Nadeau from the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and she's going to present on their nursing program. So Nancy, I turn it over to you.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. This is a great cloudy day, but you know, at least it's not raining outside of my office. So welcome to UTRGV School of Nursing. We have a new thing has new administration changes, so I'm gonna try to give you the best information related to the School of Nursing. Just to let you know, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for many, many years. I graduated from an RN program before, and I traveled a little bit before going to a BSN program. And I continued my journey as a nurse, and I did an MSN degree. So I understand sometimes the choice of, and before becoming a nurse, I was a CNA. So when I was doing high school. So it is interesting the fact that, you know, being a CNA gives me a little bit, yes, I do love hospital, patient, that kind of environment. So I knew when I graduated from, you know, to get in nursing, this is what I wanted to do. But for the School of Nursing, we don't require practicum or shadowing. And I will explain that a little bit down the road.
So you've been through all the different levels of nursing.
That is correct.
Oh, that's awesome.
The level of nursing.
Okay.
I realized nursing is my passion. So when you were not so sure, and also from money point of view, a bachelor was a little bit too expensive at that time. So when I became an RN, I was able to sustain myself. However, I realized that I need to be a little bit more and for more opportunity. That's why I decided to go for a BSN. And I was able to travel. I went to Europe to work as a nurse. I'm from Canada, so that's probably why you see hear the accent. So I traveled throughout Canada and the United States with my RN. But after a while, I realized if I want to advance or to get a little bit more challenge, I need my BSN. I'm a critical care nurse. So anything to all the gadgets, I just love it. But I practice in different settings as a nurse. So if I want to share, I would like to share my screen.
I'm going to tell you, I want to welcome Ms. Zambrano and Ms. Elizondo's class. Hi, Ms. Elizondo's class. I see that you're just now joining us. And also Mr. Cantu's new class that he has. And yes, share your screen and let's learn all about your School of Nursing.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. You let me know when it's on the slideshow.
We can see it now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, welcome. Explore your future. Maybe School of Nursing at UTRGV is for you. Let's see, you know, what we are required. But, you know, coming from the past where physicians were the one who were training the nurses, nurses now train nurses. This one is my ex-student, Isaac. He worked in McAllen Medical Center, and I love his photo. He is a very passionate nurse, and this is the one that I find, you know, if you feel like when you enter in the hospital, this is your call, then nursing is maybe for you. So sometime when you're young and finish high school and you're not so sure what you want to do, I was lucky. I knew what I want to do from when I graduated from high school. Again, let's looking at what nursing is about. Nursing is about, it's a healthcare profession. And the difference between the RN2 and the BSN is, you know, the individual, the family, and the community. The BSN is giving me a little bit more knowledge on how to deal with community and families. So that's a little bit some of the difference that I find when I you know, graduate from an RN2 compared to graduate from a BSN. And when I did my BSN, we were all nurses already. So it was like not mixed. It was really a need from that part. The photo you see is a part of the history of nursing. Nursing were on a horse going to the countryside, and nursing has a cap. Thank you. We don't have a cap anymore. So when we're looking at the one on the right in the blue light, this is a MICU nurse. This is a neonatal ICU nurse who take care of the preemies, the little babies. And that is maybe one of your passions. In relation to the school.
Let me interrupt a moment. I want to tell Ms. Zambrano, Mr. Cantu, Ms. Molina's class, and Ms. Elizondo's class. If you have questions, there's a chat feature on here that you can just go to the computer, type in your question, and we're more than willing to stop the presentation so we can answer any questions you have. So feel free to ask anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Please ask questions. I'm assuming a little bit what, Texas A&M has said before, so I don't repeat so much. Sometimes I will repeat, but I want to make sure that nursing is a call for you, is something that you really feel you want to make a difference. In this slide that you see here, we see that the doctor, teach the nursing. Like I said, nurses teach nurses. We have great faculty. We have over 30 faculty to help you to become the nurse. It's a nurse in the making for the School of Nursing. And we have our class, I would say, close to 35% of male nursing compared to, the female aspect that is we see is a traditional. So I want to make sure that maybe you're a male and you think, oh, it's too girly to be a nurse. No, we have male nurses. And this one that you see sitting here is a Army nurse that is taking our class and will go back to the Army. So we have different skills that you learn when you go in the nursing school, the observation skill and the organizational skill. That is something that it is what School of Nursing, the philosophy that we're looking at to develop technical skill, to give you critical thinking skill, and also time management and prioritize skill. Because one of the things we find in nursing, who you're going to call in the middle of the night? You call the nurse, and the nurse calls the physician. So that is all the skills that the School of Nursing will provide you on that time. One of the things graduating from School of Nursing, when you're looking for a job, the sign-on bonus, loan forgiveness, tuition reimbursement. So that is something you look at when you think, oh, can I really get in the School of Nursing? Yes, there is a lot of sign-on bonus. I teach more at the senior level, but all this one graduated 2 years ago, and she debt-free of the School of Nursing. It is something that is really fantastic to see the transition from the past. When people ask the question, the School of Nursing, we have been in the Valley for 50 years of nursing. So we were an ADN and we transformed to a BSN, and we have the master's degree in nurse practitioner. So we have different branch that if you decide to go to STC for the ADN, maybe you want to consider the BSN for the School of Nursing at UTRGV that will bridge you to the FNP and the School of Nursing. So it is something that for me, it's a beginning. The School of Nursing has a white coat ceremony. That is a beginning of your profession, the medical profession in the healthcare setting, and we have that every year. So physically, we have you see the T-shirt on the back. We're really there to support the nursing. Another things I want to point out, this is a male nurse, and what do you see in that photo? You see taking the hands of a patient. So compassion, ethic, advocate, that is what we are looking at, for you to become. I know it's kind of a challenge to say, do you think nursing is for me? Again, I can give you 2 years of nursing, but if you really feel this is what you want to do, to help somebody, to be there in the harder time of their life, sometime in that passing, I suggest, doing versus being. It is two things in nursing. Nursing is not only doing. Nursing is being there for the patient. And the School of Nursing, we really try to, give you the best And we are also connected with the only one honor society of nursing. You need to be a bachelor degree to be considered of honor society of nursing. And we do have a chapter called Pamacrum chapter, and we do focus on nursing research. And our nursing researcher, Dr. Diaz, that you see in the photo here, has received a grant of $1 million to do nursing research and answer to the need of the community. So the School of Nursing is really involved in our community. So do you have any question about nursing at this present time?
Right now, we don't have any questions, but students, I want to remind you, if you have any questions to ask, please just put them in the chat. I see Ms. Molina is typing something, but go ahead with the presentation and I'll let you know.
Okay, so the prerequisites that we need for nursing. There is, again, the core nursing is 42 semester credit hours. Many of you are taking AP class that, yes, some are recognized at the School of Nursing at UTRGV. You need to apply at UTRGV to be able to come in nursing. So we really look for that you seek an advisor at UTRGV to make sure that you are you can apply in nursing school. The admission specifically for nursing, we're looking at a minimum of 2.5 GPA. However, we take the top GPA and we take 120 students a year. Again, for the prerequisite, you need to have a grade C on each course. When you are finishing your prerequisites on that semester, you will need to do a criminal background check. And if you do something strange during the summer or the spring break, and sometimes we have a few that did some mistakes, and they have to clear the criminal check background and before you come, in nursing. Admission deadline for the spring is in March. However, listen carefully what I'm going to say because that changed. In the fall of 2020, we will take dual admission a year. We're going to take in the fall of 2020 and in the spring of 2021. We will do twice admission at that time. For fall 2019, we will have 120 and is one-time admission. But when come fall 2020, we will have an admission in the fall and we will have an admission in the spring of 2021. Do you have any question about that?
Yeah, well, not about that, but we do have another question. In La Jolla, Melanie Villarreal wants to know, does UTRGV offer a degree in biomedical science?
Biomedical science, to enter to, usually you will go to pharmacy school or medical school. And for that part, I can, investigate and send you the answer today.
That would be great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help with that. And I'm sure Melanie does too.
Again, for the admission for the School of Nursing, we get the CPR, and I think each one of you, as well, my kid is not in nursing, she went to do a CPR in case that we need to help in the society, and it's pretty easy for doing that. Admission for nursing, again, immunization is very important to make sure that you are safe to yourself and safe to others. So immunization, we will be more specific when you are getting closer to be admitted to the School of Nursing. Again, there is a change in admission criteria for the School of Nursing. Your GPA for your class, your science class, anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, chemistry and microbiology, those GPA are very important because for admission criteria, it will count for 20%. If you have to retake it, then you may have a penalty of 1% for retaking a class. Sometimes you just missed the boat, but you know you have the potential, you retake your class and you get an A. That's what I suggest if you were my child to do. Let's say, hey, you missed up chemistry, you got a C, and you want to retake chemistry and you get an A, I would suggest please do it. Strategy courses will count for 20% for the admission criteria, meaning your math stats, your psychology, your lifespan, and your sociology. Can you take sociology and STC, or lifespan and STC, or psychology or math stats? Yes, you can, and transfer to UTRGV. Yes, you can do that, as well as anatomy, chemistry, and microbiology. You can do that and transfer to UTRGV. That's correct. So again, for fall 2020 admission, that is something that we will be taking. Fall admission, we're going to take only 60 students, and in the spring of 2021, 60 students, for a total of 120 students that will come to nursing at that time. So I know you're going to prepare to finish high school, and then you decide, you know what, I like to have a life as a student. I want to enjoy my prerequisites. I want a life of UTRGV. I want physically to go to school. That may be something that you need to keep in your mind in the back, that you know, your GPA, and that's going to be very important, in your recent grade course is going to be important. So that is something that it's to take in consideration. Now, one of the things you get, let me see what SC. Yes, we will need, I didn't put it there, I'm so sorry. We will have SC that will count for 20% on your GPA. So SC with critical thinking, I do have it somewhere in one of my slides, but yes, for admission criteria, nursing, School of Nursing has changed, and you will need to take SC and plus critical thinking. So we'll count towards the admission criteria for nursing. So the same that what SCC is required, do you need to take, you can take it twice. So you go one time, you like your score, you have 74, you retake it again, you make an 85, we will take the 85 as your SC, okay, before you are entering in nursing school, because we're looking at your GPA for your science classes, your strategy courses, your SC with critical thinking, like the other nursing program here in the Valley. So just to let you know, pay attention to that. Do you have any questions about that?
No additional questions right now.
Right. So in case that you are taking an RN degree to another nursing program and you want to transfer to UTRGV, we will have an evidence, we will require an evidence that you're an RN. You go to the RN to BSN program online 1 year, and you are adding your RN and your BSN. That's what we have for UTRGV. So there is different way that you can come at the School of Nursing. We don't have an ADN program. We have a BSN program and an MSN program. And probably in 2 years, we will have a DNP program for the School of Nursing. That is coming down the road, okay? So again, when students are asking for substitution, if you go to another program, that happened when I give advisement, is they went to Texas A&M, to College Station, to another one, and they want to transfer. Some we can do substitution, and your advisor will help you when you come to UTRGV, which one of the course that you can take. Now, you are for nursing, so let me give you what you can do as nursing, and I'm going to do that for the next 5 minutes. IV certified nurses. This is a specialized, when you graduate as general nurse and you specialize of doing IV, on the patient and with using ultrasound, and they call you. Those are different speciality. People think that you're bedside, but yes, you're bedside, but there is different option that nursing can give you. So again, natural science, your credit for anatomy, chemistry, and microbiology. For some students, they graduate from the bachelor and they want to become a certified registered nurse anesthetist. You need a bachelor, your GPA is important, 2 years of practice, and you want to apply for a registered nurse anesthetist school. That's why you come to UTRGV School of Nursing to get your bachelor, and that's what you can do. And you build your own patients. So those are the nice things you can do. A nurse perfusionist, you know, in the Valley, we do a lot of open heart surgery. Nurse perfusionist, you are there with the cardiologist, and you are the one who in charge of all the blood supply, that when the cardiologist stops the heart, you're the one who makes sure that the blood is well perfused, because the blood is stopped in the body of a patient. And so the surgeon can do his surgery, and after that, the blood go back in the patient. You are called a nurse perfusionist. That is high tech. That is the fun of nursing. You need your math stats. I already told you that. Cat lab nursing. All the people that has, you know, the barbacoa and the tacos and all those things, buffet in the Valley, and you get plugged in your artery. You are a nurse cat lab working with cardiologists to open the vein and the artery for a patient to not having a heart attack. Or if you have a heart attack, that's you're going to go to the cath lab, and we will, you know, try to reopen those arteries and put you on diet. So that is the fun of being a nurse. Social science, again, you can do in dual enrollment. I probably think you're already doing your history, your politics, your psychology, your lifespan, and your sociology. Those are our core for the entering in the UTRGV School of Nursing. You can become a case manager. That is something that it's specialized in nursing. Get a certificate and you become a nurse case manager, but you need to have a bachelor of that. Nutrition, yes, you need to class a nutrition pre-nursing. And you know, diabetes is a challenge we have in the Valley. From that, after a bachelor, you get a certification as a diabetes educator, and you teach. You have a job for the rest of your life. For some people, they want to become a certified nurse midwife. You need to have a bachelor. So from that, and then you transfer to the midwifery school. Again, for requirement for English 1 and 2, most of the time you're doing already in your high school and you transfer. One of the things for the school, for UTRGV, they call it integrative and experiential learning. You can have one introduction in literature as part of the requirement for UTRGV to give you a bachelor. That is, but it's required to have 6 semester credit hours for English. And most of you, one of the challenge my kids, she's at UTRGV, not in nursing. She transferred me a B, and then she retake the class because it was really high competitive for her, and that gave her some good background to make sure that she has the grade to enter the program she wants to do. Creative arts, you need an art class. For some of you, you want to become a teacher like me. So, you know, the fun things to teach other nurses, you need to have a bachelor, and then you do for your master's degree in education, and you become a faculty or a clinical instructor working at STC, for example. So modern language is the same. You have to have same languages. It's a 6 semester credit hours. People ask me, you know, from a bachelor, after that you can go as a nurse practitioner. And we do have this program here at UTRGV. It's half online and half face-to-face. All our classes are pretty much face-to-face, except a few classes, maybe 2 classes that is online, but all your clinical are with a clinical instructor. This is a challenge. Health languages, if you decide to take medical terminology, cannot be taken at STC. Medical terminology has to be taken at the university level, or you can clip out medical terminology. So when you go with the advisement, you enter at UTRGV, you get financial aid, and most of you qualify for it. And you say, okay, what are the classes you need to take? Your advisor will tell you. But if you did medical terminology at STC, it's not going to count. The Spanish is Spanish as for health professional, can be taken as health languages. Okay. The language, philosophy, and culture for UTRGV, it's any of the courses, philosophy most of the time. Many people see home health nursing. You need to have a bachelor if you want to be a case manager, and you work with LVN. LVN, the vocal nursing, the licensed vocational nurse. That is, but you are the home health nurse. You are, with a bachelor, you have an easier life to understand what is going on, or you want to be you want to be the director of a home health agency, you need to have a bachelor. One of the integrated experiential learning, which is the 3 semester credit hours. I put you a photo here as a flight nurse. We do have a lot of flight nurse here in the Valley. That is the fun things. You work in a hospital, but you are, you know, you go for a little training to become a flight nurse. And I have a lot of my students RN to BSN who are flight nurse to fly in Corpus Christi or to the island or to La Jolla to bring a patient to DHR or McAllen Medical Center. That is the fun things when you become a nurse. Wellness cannot be taken in any other university. It has to be taken at UTRGV. Public health nurse or Red Cross nurses, those are the possibility of what kind of nurse you want to be. You need to kinesiology, you need to be in shape. If you look at the nurse working in ER, she doesn't sit very often because we get to be in shape. But no, UTRGV is required to have 2 semester credit hours of activity. And for me, I'm an ER nurse as well. I've rotated between critical care and ER, and that is my life. I just love this environment of, you know, you never know what is coming through the door. So, and I still have the passion for nursing. To finalize, because it's already 10 o'clock, if you're thinking that you want to, maybe financially it's challenged, you may decide to become a military nurse, and they pay everything for you. Navy nurse, Army nurse, Air Force nurse, you know, that is something that it's a possibility for you, and they will pay your school, and you become, after graduating from a bachelor, you are an officer. So that is maybe something. So nursing, if you're looking at different possibilities that you want to work with, many times they will require a bachelor, and so it is something that you can do. If you have an ADN program, associate degree, and you want to come back and do an RN to BSN, because I do teach online, it takes you 1 year, and you graduate from UTRGV. So we use different simulation to help you to become that nurse. So maybe the nursing for you is nursing, and let me tell you, it makes you a meaningful, a purposeful, and so many people call you an angel when you're a nurse, because it's really what makes you you, and proud to be a nurse. Nursing success rate is 92% in 2017, sorry. And this year, according to the preliminary data we will have, is 96%. So if you want to know more, you can like us on Facebook, you know, to see what is going on with us at UTRGV School of Nursing. Do you have any questions?
Students, I want to give you an opportunity now to ask questions. You've got to see all the different levels of nursing and the types of nursing professions there are there. We're about to wrap up the session. Does anybody have any questions? I do want to answer Melanie Villarreal. She asked about the biomedical science. They do have that degree program at Texas A&M. So if you're interested, you can contact Ms. Magallana and she'll give you more information on that. And I see Ms. Molina's typing. I know that their classes end pretty fast here. So I'll give one last chance. I want to take a moment to thank our UT, RGV, and our Texas A&M representatives. I think this was a really well-balanced. We got to see educational programs in both areas, and we also got to see different types of nursing in both areas. Natalie Alvarado wants to know, to be a nurse in the Navy, do you have to have a background, the background in it?
The background in it, meaning that what I see happening is I invite them when the recruiter from the Navy come in my class, and they give you a job and they pay back your school, and that is, you know, if you qualify for the Navy, you know, military part, that's great because it's just, and they pay everything. So do you need to have experience? Not necessarily. They need to have a bachelor in nursing. That's why they love us.
Nancy, can I ask you to stop sharing your screen so we can see everybody? Thank you. Natalie, I think another good idea is when the recruiters are on your campus, ask the Navy recruiter and they'll be able to tell you. Ms. Molina, Mr. Cantu, Ms. Zambrano, Ms. Elizondo, are there any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay, that's great.
One of the students are asking if Army nurses are taken into the field of combat.
No, the nurse, you are on the ground, but you never really go in combat per se. But you can be in the fire before Army nurses. Most of the time is you are with the Red Cross, with the Army. They don't touch because they need, you know, it's part of the Red Cross international understanding that we need to help. And that's nurse, that's, you know, they're not in the combat part. They are in the hospital setting in the field.
Basically, they're outside the line of fire, but they're there.
That's cool. Well, I cannot guarantee that, but yes, you are not going combat in old-fashioned way, no.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Are there any other questions? Well, I want to thank our presenters. This has been a great session. We've learned a lot about the two programs, and we'll take this moment to end. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again on October 5th. Bye. Thank you.